Hey, hey, hey. I can only apologise. I am doing well, how are you? Yeah, so that is a bug. Someone did report it on Discord. It's a very strange bug, I will say that. Yeah, it is a weird one. It is a very weird one. But it seems to be doing it for all of them. Because this generates very little. Like, there's no way that's got, how much is it? I mean, that's 128,000 RF. There's no way it's receiving that. From a couple of coal generators, there's just no way. Morning, morning. What do you mean, the 1280 number? Are you talking about the second part? So that is how much RF it uses per tick. I wonder if it's down to the restarting on error. That line there, specifically. Because I suppose technically it is erroring. But it shouldn't produce an output, right? I mean, it's definitely wrong. Let's disable it and see if that makes a difference. Well, it does look like that's the problem. So why would it complete the recipe? Hi. Yeah, so the way I think it's doing it is resetting is not resetting, it's forwarding into the end of the recipe, I think. There will probably be a Techopolis update today, but I don't know when, because we've got quite a lot to look at. So if you can get it done before then, we should be good. I mean, it's quite a minor changelog at the minute. Can I add XNet support on my side, or is it specific? Actually, didn't you say you had trouble with XNet? Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, no stress, no worries. As I say, if it's in, it's in. If it's not, it's not. So we might have to disable the reset on error for this machine. Please don't stress about it. As I say, I've got a lot of stuff that I need to look at as well. Yeah, we may just have to... Well, the X is correct because it shows that there's not enough energy. But at least it doesn't produce the item. Yeah, so we may have to just leave this as not resetting when it errors, which means you kind of have to break the machine if you change the ore in the middle. Well, we've reported it anyway as a bug, and we'll see what happens. So the testing channel is just full of casting and the new resource pack stuff. So we don't really need to worry about that yet. change that quest as well. That was a relatively easy one, to be fair. Honestly, the actual main Techopolis chat I haven't really read. So unless it's in the bug tracker, then it's not going to get fixed. Like, I browse it every now and again, but it's hard to keep up with it now. So this is evolved, so we'll ignore that for the minute. Second bug's evolved, so we'll ignore that as well. Lead dimensional ore extractor not working. That's interesting, because clearly this bug is on the wrong version, because that shouldn't happen. Well, it will happen now because of the fact that we changed it. Russian translations, that's pretty simple, just need to drag a file over. Yeah, a lot of the bugs you come across, if you do, are going to be like edge cases where people are doing something that's slightly different, like the whole dimensional ore thing. During testing, I never would have tested it without having the right power, so you're never going to notice stuff like that. So it would just be weird edge cases. Broken A tool tooltip. That seems to have been resolved, so we can close that. Moonstone should have a recipe using the moon globe. That is very true. Yeah, so we've literally just missed it. That's the problem there. It's not recent. We've had it a while. The first comment on it was December the 5th. So it would have come out around December the 5th. Yeah, that's not a bad idea for an upgrade. It's a strange upgrade, but it's definitely an idea for one. Yeah, Klosh was made because I wanted to separate it out from utilities, so I could make it a bit more better than what it was in utilities. It also served as like a base of what the mods are going to be going forward. So like with the buttons and stuff in the top of the GUI. That's not right. It should be using stone. Why is it not using stone? Oh, I see. There we go. So normal stone on the moon with the interdimensional infuser will create moonstone. What, the moonstone recipe? Techopolis is weird. It was only going to be up to here, where the ultimate technium is, and then the other stuff was going to come as like feature updates, but it kind of never happened. We just ended up doing the whole thing at once. Well, kind of at once, because obviously this chapter changed a lot in beta. Pretty sure this chapter was here in beta as well. But that's why the research only goes up to ultimate. Typo in advanced research crafter blueprint. Guessing that's going to be the same in all the quests. Because we usually just copy and paste it. Yeah, when it's the same like information, it's just copied over usually. I don't have it like having the quests not have text. Even if it's just like silly text, it's worth having something. Crafting recipe for automatic alloy kiln wand. Unlikely, but it's technically possible to spend all your tech bucks before knowing you need 4 to buy the multi-block wand. So you can get locked out of being able to purchase the wand itself and have to build it manually, which is also fine. There is a 6-block void inside the kiln that makes it hard to build by hand unless you know where it is. I'm suggesting you make the wand craftable to be safe. Don't think that's necessary. purely because you can see the structure in JEI, so I don't think that's needed. I think he meant the placer. This. As I say, it shouldn't matter too much because you can view the recipe in JEI. So you can do that, and then you see where the gap is as well. I mean, the structure is wrong because it should never have been only the one gap. It should have been this bit as well. But it's too much effort to change it all now. Another evolved bug. Interesting that evolved's got quite a few bugs going on. Glitch in text, we can't really do anything about that. I'm guessing it's some sort of driver problem. XNet connector names. I believe this is fixed. Because the last update for it suggested that it was. Fix the problem where the fluid channels were not working correctly. Which came out on the 16th. Which technically means it should be in the version of Techopolis we're playing now. Unless we didn't update it in that version. Yeah, that's the version we've got. So that should have been fixed in the last version anyway. Crashing mechanical pipe with creosote from coke oven solidifier, that was fixed, so that's finished. Voiding hammer issue, i.e. multi-blocks. Only hammers and excavators mod. Oh, I have seen this. This is a weird one. Wait, where does this go? So that's there. Yeah, so it's true. It does ignore that middle block when you break it, which is really weird. Be interested if it happens with casting as well. Don't think it does though. Yeah, no, casting's fine. So there must be something weird with the hammer mod. Well, we've added that to the hammers bug. But as I said, I don't think there's much we could do outside with that one. My guess would be it's the way they get the loot table for the block. Like if it runs the loot table of the multi-block structure, which I'm guessing wouldn't have a loot table, then the first block it breaks would be void. And then the other blocks would be fine because the next blocks it breaks are around it, which would already be back formed as normal blocks. Which would explain why it works, because casting checks for the block event breaking, not just the loot table. So if it's an entity like this would be, we check the break event if they've overridden it, which a lot of mods do if they have their own entity stuff going on. So we check all of that. So that would explain why casting works. So we will track this inside of Techopolis as well. I believe this is fixed. Casting multi-block changelog. Oh yeah, we don't need that. That's for casting. Debris cannot complete before getting scrap. I believe this was fixed as well, because you can use Silk Touch. Can brass be made in the metallurgic confuser similar to bronze? I noticed for brass it could be used. I noticed for brass it could be made in the same way as bronze except via the metallurgic confuser. Not sure if this was by design or perhaps missed. Brass what? Oh, it can be made except for the metallurgic confuser. What's the way of getting brass? Alloy kiln. Yes. That recipe is wrong as well, by the looks of it. Oh no, it is right. I think the only reason we couldn't do it is because we don't have um, infused copper or anything that could go into the metallurgic infuser. And it's not really worth adding it for just that. Yeah, see look, it has mechanism as the tin, not the copper. We could add a chemical for it, but it just seems a bit pointless, really. Is brass that bad? I don't think it is. Especially as you can upgrade it as well. Server restart in needed after party establishment to progress the quest book. I don't know if this is a bug. There's no FTB update, and I can only imagine that if that was an issue, there would have been an update for this by now. Oh wait, there's literally a bug fix for the custom machinery thing. Which means we can get rid of that. Also a nice change, this is a good bug fix. So I mean, this does work, having the reset on error back, but it does strictly mean you need the right power, I think, which is not ideal. Actually, it doesn't seem to... Oh no, it does work. Yeah, I think that's, unfortunately, we'll just have to leave it as it is. And we'll have to just do that, I think. I'll report that part and we'll see what happens. There's so many random, like, misc bugs here. Quest ordering seems a little off for the fluidizer. Fluidizer quests currently after nuclear reactor in the replication chapter out of position question mark. Though behind this is all you have the materials for fluidizer components 2 chapters earlier, and it is all used of items from the previous chapter. Why is that here? Yeah, that is odd. Oh, do you know why? I think the reason is because the nuclear reactor made it easier to make cyanide. So the idea was not to waste your cyanide making this fluidizer first until you had enough. I think that was why we did it. So again, that is fine. We're not adding quantum armor on the moon. Tom's stuff was fixed. Desertopolis? Who's playing Desertopolis? It's fixed anyway, so we can get rid of that. That's also fixed. That's not a bug. That's not a bug. This we need to do. This is translation support for all the mods. Core, Techopolis, cloche, colours, flight blocks, market, utilities, places, rooms, strainers and wands. So I guess we just need to add these as we update the mods. And then the last one is never and end void dimensions, but that's fine. Yeah, so I didn't, as I thought, I didn't think there was too much to fix. Let's update the config stuff. the other one is BCC. That's both of them. So we need to replace the dimensional frame as well, which will be that's just switching the two around because they're the wrong way. Hey, 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 welcome, welcome. Yeah, so that's the machine frames fixed. Do we have an AE2 set up anywhere in this world? Dimensional infuser icon in the quest yet? Now fixed. How did that get through so long? Oh, another bug I've just remembered. Where on earth is this miner? So they're the four main ones. And then for whatever reason this exists. But I don't know where. It's in casting for some reason. Oh my god, I know why. We were testing casting, weren't we? With custom machinery. I'm pretty sure we left that machine in casting. We definitely need to fix that then. Okay, let's fix that. I suppose we should fix the flight as well while we're here. Wait, did we already delete it? What version of casting do we have in this mod pack? One dot 17.15. And we're on 1.17.15, so maybe it's not encasted. Oh no, so there it is. Okay, so how are we going to fix flying? This is the code we had to comment out. The issue with it is, obviously we check if the player has the flight component. If they have it, they get flight. If they don't, they don't. But the problem with this is, if they don't ever have the flight component, they never fly. So it affects creative and spectator, even though we're checking for that here. So we have a couple of options. One is to use the way Flight Blocks does it, which is to apply a tag to the player and then have that tag affect it, but I don't know if that will work in this case because of the way we check for flight. I don't really know how else we can check for flight. Because the flight shouldn't be just dictated on whether you have the component for it or not. So if anyone has any ideas how we can fix that, I'm all ears. It might actually be a case of doing something similar to Flight Blocks though, and having something saved on the player. And then when you have that on the player, that's the only reason when we'll check it. I mean, how do we do it in Flight Blocks? We check for radius of the flight blocks and then enable flight. I could have sworn we saved. Oh no, we do. We had a tag. Flight blocks flight. Doesn't actually seem like the best way of doing it though. I think tag is the best way of doing it. So instead of directly adding flight here, we just add the tag to the player and then we'll use a separate event to enable flight. I think that's probably the only way of doing it. May fly true remove the tag. We don't want to remove it though, because the removal will be handed over here. Honestly, maybe something like that might work. Okay, so we should have flight. And then we take it off, we lose flight. No. Even though we don't have the tag. Oh, that's because we're not actually disabling it. So that should work. So we fly, we take it off, we don't fly. We fly, we go to creative. And then we take it off and we drop, which shouldn't work. Why is that doing that? I mean, that doesn't work. Even though we have the tag. Hey, hey, welcome, welcome. Maybe that. I mean, it is disabling it, which is quite a concern. Wait, why is it working now? Yeah, that's correct, I think. So creative and spectator are fine. Both with and without flight. And then if we take it off, we lose flight. We put it on with game flight, which is perfect. One thing I want to try and do, it was spoken about in the GOC stream yesterday, the ability to copy over your tool modifiers to like a new tool. I think we can do it. It's just going to be tricky. It's going to be really tricky. Honestly, it should be fine. But I think we have essentials in Techopolis anyway, so we can test it. The question is, how would we go about actually changing how would we go about copying stuff over? I think we can probably use the equipment modifier and just have the two tools together. You lose one and then you copy the unmodified tool, and that should probably work if we obviously work on it. The only other option would be the smithing table, but I don't really want to look into how this works. At least with the equipment modifier we know how it works. We do need to add the texture as well. Really work better if I copy the actual texture, not the JSON. Okay, we'll run data on that. So I guess the real question is, do we want to try and add copying of tools right now? Out of curiosity, what is the problem with XNet? What is it that they're doing? So is each block, it's not its own block, it's a one block, is it, just with texture? Why didn't that work? That's because I didn't add it to the list. Yeah, Yeah, I guess would be that XNet uses a single block for all its pipes. There we go. That is true. So what are they doing then? Because it can't be more complicated than Enter.io. It's literally just a block, isn't it? That seems really weird. So we could do this, where this is an old tool, this is the new tool, and then it copies onto the new tool and deletes the old tool. Or maybe not even necessarily delete the old tool, we could probably just remove all of the casting stuff from it and apply it to this and then copy that to there. We might actually be able to do this with just crafting. I do think we could probably look at this at another time though, because I don't want to break anything. I love mixins. So I'm guessing the overrides that placement because to the connections maybe. No, I hate mixins, but I've used a lot of mixins. I mean, look at core. That's all the mixins that core adds. Granted, a lot of them are actually like quite useful. Like the Nether Portal one's really good. There's about 2 or 3 that we needed for the world type recipes. The most recent one is night vision because that annoying flashing you get when night vision's ending. And obviously we added the night vision modifier, but obviously you don't want to give it loads of time if you haven't got the modifier on. It wants to kind of be on or off, so we added a mixin to disable that. Of mixins, they're not that bad. Like that's the average class. Like they're not massive. No, you don't need any of that. You just need to add in here, and you just create this inside the resources for your mod, and then just put where they are in the mod. And obviously the package is where you store the mixins. Yeah, it's really not that bad. Obviously there's some weird stuff that we specifically needed for core, Like the coloured crafting tables are random one. Because obviously we just copy the crafting menu. But obviously the whole is valid method for crafting is a bit annoying. So we just override that to always return it as true if it's a coloured crafting one. As I say, like we had to do one for the server IP as well, the default servers. We had to do obviously the night vision one. The world one was an interesting one because that took a lot of work. I actually had help from someone from Cube.js that works on NeoForge to help with this one. Yeah, I'd say they're not actually that bad. You just got to make sure you're doing right. So we need to test the May Fly one to see if it works with casting. Okay, so that works. That doesn't work. That is surprising. I don't know if is that casting though? I don't know if that is casting. We only check for the tag. And if the tag's not there, then we don't do anything. So I can't see why that would be breaking it. I mean, we can test it. Just disable the flight and see. So we check if the player is creative or spectator. If they're not, then we check for flight. And then if they have flight, they get it. But so this shouldn't touch anything to do with other flight methods. Otherwise, flight blocks shouldn't work either by that logic. As I say, there's no rush on Techopolis. If it comes out today, it comes out today. If not, I'm more than happy to leave it till next Friday. There really is nothing substantial in it that requires a massive update, I don't think. There's a lot of quality of life stuff, but yeah, there's nothing major. There is nothing major, which is why we didn't really work on it during the week. I really hope that /fly doesn't work. Oh, it does work. How on earth did we get this to work with flight blocks so well? Also, I can't help but notice that the border isn't staying when it should. Oh no, wait, it is. Okay, that's fine then. So how is flight blocks doing this? If player... Oh, we are checking the ability of flight. So if the player doesn't have flight, then flight is enabled. And I guess it's the opposite. Okay, so let's try that. I think we did this and it didn't work. So that goes there. Maybe that. Don't let me forget as well, we need to look at this replication A2 bridge mod. I'm hoping that this will work then. No, not glitch. Bridge. For, as far as I can tell, it allows you to craft replication stuff from inside AE2. But I haven't tested it yet. I saw it come up as a... I always look at updated mods to see if anything fits in the pack. Oh god, I don't think that's working. created some sort of slow fall. I think this is fine. And it doesn't work with flight. Okay, that was not it. Why is it so hard to do this? If player is creative and if player is not spectator. This is exactly what we're checking in flight blocks. Oh, I know why. It needs to be in post player events, not pre. Oh, it is in post. But the check is in pre. So if we do something like that, have all the checks done in post. Sure, let's try that. I've really discovered a hatred for pre and post tick events. There's so many weird little interactions that you have no idea why a certain thing will be doing something. It's just so weird. Yeah, it basically is, to be fair. There's a good chance we'll re-change this anyway. But yeah, pre and post event stuff is just so weird. Like, I'm pretty sure for the looting and stuff, that all happens pre, which is random. Because I just assumed that it would be post the damage, because obviously that would be when the loot spawns, but the loot's calculated before that. Which again is a bit strange in my head. Well, that just now doesn't work at all. Uh-oh. Not gonna lie, I thought we crashed. Okay, let's work this out. So inside Flightbox, this all happens on the post, which is where we're in now. And we check if the player level is client side, etc, etc. Get the players, server the player. Confirm that the player is near a flight block, then enable flight. So we don't need to confirm that the player is near a flight block. All we need to do is dictate whether they have the modifier or not. So let's just literally rip this whole code from flight blocks and then adjust it. So we don't need that. The is flightbot check will become, does it have this flight here? Enable flight is that. And then disable is this. Like that. Then we can remove these two. Remove the translations. And then we just need to check for what we're doing here, which will be cast in flight. And then remove all that. So that is literally the same. I see something we were doing differently actually. If the player is flying, we'd actually disable the flight tag, which is weird. I guess it kind of makes sense. Let's just hope this works. You have no idea what to do if it doesn't. Well, flight disabled. This didn't tell us that flight was enabled. Oh, that's because flight was on. It's definitely not disabling. Oh, that's because I'm wearing a chest plate. Oh. Yeah, because the flight box is quite clever. It won't mess with any flight unless it detects that you don't have it. So that would make sense to why it wasn't showing on and off with the chest plate. So with the chest, don't touch it. Or apparently we do. So if we go out, does it turn it off? No. So that is actually working correct. And then the flight enable comes because we're still in range. So then we leave. Flight is now enabled with /fly. And we can fly. What is that? Oh yeah. Okay, so that actually does seem to be working. Right, that's being published as we speak, so that's fine. So we need to update casting eventually, but it's no rush. So I'm guessing it's this, AE2 replica bridge. So do we actually have an AE2 network anywhere in this world? Because I swear we... Oh my god, yeah, we got this, haven't we? I forgot about this. How do you teach it again? I can't remember. Is it the identification chamber? Oh, if I knew there was a quest book for this, eh? So I'm assuming, I haven't tried this yet, but I can only assume that you connect the bridge to these pipes and then connect it to your AE2 network. And then I guess it will just give you like the option to craft. That's the way I'm looking at it anyway. So yeah, we can craft now. So that's connected. expected. Yeah, look at that. And yeah, you could craft. That is pretty cool. I don't know why that's broken. And where does it craft? Over here? Wait, I'm guessing we need the actual replicas because we haven't got any. And then I guess this will make the stars. That is amazing. What a good little mod. Well, we're definitely keeping this then. It's just where it goes. So we could probably shove it in here somewhere. What's the recipe like? Storage buses, pattern providers, replica block. Honestly, this is fine. I'm not sure why it's... Oh, it's alternate because it's the way it's orientated. Honestly, that's fine. I think that's perfect. They're the ones I like. The ones that are just... You kind of know how they're going to do it and they just do it. Just remember, when this mod eventually becomes big, because it will, because Replication and AE2 are both big, it was in Techopolis first. 706 downloads it has at the minute. As I say, it is quite a new mod, and almost every couple of hours I always check to see what new mods are out, just for little gems such as this. Someone wants facades on modern dynamic cables as well. There we go. Didn't we make it more? Did we change it? I can't remember if we did or not. I think I was gonna change it. It would have been really funny if we didn't do A2 till Ultimate, where it was originally planned to be. I'm pretty sure Replication and A2 were in opposite sides before. At least they were in when I was making it. I don't know if anyone saw it when it was that. So actually this might be big enough to do an update. I think that terminal stuff for replication is really, really useful. To be honest, there is still a lot of mods I haven't checked for their updates yet. At the basic engineer block. Oh my god, I don't think we actually want to update immersive, do we? It's the graphite stuff. The ingots are going to be no longer used. Graphite electrodes for the arc furnace no longer require blueprint. That doesn't affect us, I think we craft them anyway, don't we? Oh no, we do craft them. Instead, electrodes and plates are now made in a bottling machine using dust and creosote. Interesting. Change for dropping vertical, blah blah blah. Desync of item router buttons, to be fair, that's pretty big. Resident observer not, blah blah blah. What is this basic engineering block? Because if they've changed multi-blocks, we're in trouble. See, the Jade compatibility is quite big as well. I'm guessing that will show you like the molds and stuff inside the crusher again. Okay, maybe we do update immersive. Quite a big update though. Yeah, we just need to hope that the basic engineer blocks, whatever they are not used in any of the multi-blocks. Otherwise we're going to have to redo all of the places, which would be horrible. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. can only presume if the multi-blocks had changed, that would be in the changelog. Oh, I see. So these are used to... What does this change? Does this change anything that we're using them for? What is the logic unit? Apparently there's no issue with recipes, so that's good. You see, we changed the recipe completely. So this recipe needs to be changed then. %, because we used this earlier. It never used to use iron, did it? Or did it? Does the recipe now use iron? If so, that's fine. What is a machine interface? Seems quite different. This stuff's all fine. Turntables are fine. Don't know what that is, but fine. Yeah, that's whatever that is. I have mechanical poetry planks. Yeah, that should be alright. Guessing none of this has changed. Nah. So recipe wise we should be fine. It's just going to be what this graphite stuff looks like. Do we use graphite in Technium? No. That's what we did, but yeah, that's fine then. Yeah, so we'll check this. So we'll need to change the recipe anyway to change it to the cast-in molds. So how did you used to make this? The blueprint in the engineer's table with the ingots? Was that the way? Okay, so first things first, let's fix this recipe. So that should be that done. That's an interesting recipe. I like it. It gives more uses for the bottling machine as well, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, so now we're using the casting one, which is fine. So that's the same. So we need to change the quest where we make this. Which is here. So this recipe goes as well, right? Because there's no uses for it anymore. This is a bit of a problem, actually. So we may change the recipe to use a different fluid. Maybe gold? Problem I have with this at the minute is that you can kind of do the arc furnace from whenever you get coal, because you're only limited by the structure at that point. The whole point of the blueprint in this prevented you to skip it. So I think we're going to need to change the fluid to something. Honestly, it might actually end up being coal. I know, because coal you can already get. It's got to be gold, isn't it? I think it's got to be gold. Because this is just made in squeezer. Or we add stuff to this recipe here. Maybe we add black quartz into this. Because we have the dust. Sulfur's not a bad idea either. So we, to be fair, sulfur is probably better. So we could do that. I think that might actually be a better way of doing it. Let's see if we can find the squeezer recipe. So, squeezer graphite dust. How on earth do you add to these? There is a very good chance that the squeezer can't actually take more than one item. Okay, so I don't think we could actually add that. Because it is only, it looks like it's only an input. Though I do find it interesting that it shows the whole GUI in JEI, if it's not the whole thing. Squeeze a recipe extends multi-block recipe, cached list of recipes, recipe multipliers, public ingredient with size input. Yeah, it's not, so it's only a single input ingredient. Right, so how do we want to do this? I wonder if we just don't use, if we make, we're going to have to make a new item. We're going to have to make a new item and call it something like raw hot graphite dust or something, and then have the coal coke dust and sulfur to make it. I think that's the only way we're going to get around this. This needs to go right up here. Probably here. Did you fix it? Pretty sure disgusting workaround is my middle name. You've literally caught us mid doing a disgusting workaround. Most disgusting workaround, but it works. Those are truly disgusting. Let's just say I used 2 uppercase to find the correct enum value. Mine is more disgusting, but it sort of works, so I take it. Well, if it sort of works, I'll also take it. So we're going to have to get the hot graphite texture as well and then tweak it a little bit. Where on earth am I going to find this? It's probably going to be material dust coke, that sounds about right. File, save as. Techopolis. Techopolis items. Hope I've called that the right name. Raw hop graphite dust, yeah. So that should be basically done. Wait, what are we making? We've made the raw graphite to replace what? Oh, to replace the coke in here. So... oh, we're going to need to tag it as well. Tags. Okay, so we've added the raw hop graphite made from sulfur and coal coke. That is used in the squeezer to make hop graphite dust instead of just using coal coke. And then the dust is used to make the rod now. I'm surprised they've changed the hop graphite stuff. Okay, there we go. Raw hop graphite dust. I definitely need to change the display name. Change it to that to make it more consistent with the other hop. Yeah, so what's this recipe for now then? Because you can't even craft these, so we may as well just remove this recipe. Because there's literally no point to it. Technically yes, but we should still be able to remove it like that. Yeah. Because all the recipes I replace usually, especially if it's stuff like this, I replace inside data packs instead of inside Cube.js. So removing the ID is the same ID because it's still in the same place. Yeah, I guess we want to do that. Okay, fine. That is fine. Very, very nice. So that's that. Need to add the flight box changes as well. That'll do as a simple thing of what's added there. It's pretty scary to think that that was one mod. So everything else I think is fine. Actually, we can check the J compatibility. Do we have a crusher? We do. Did it show the power usage before? Can I assume it would be stuff like the... Nah. And it doesn't show that either, so what did it add back? Oh my god. Burst of engineering. Multi-block icons. Is that it? So did it show the icons before? Oh well. Huge changes there. Right, Toms, what have you changed? Added inventory configurators, highlight painted blocks. Added storage system information terminal. Don't think this is important really, so this should be fine. Yeah, that's what they added. I wonder if that was part of the casting bug. Added cooldowns, probably doesn't affect us. Has cooldown above. Conditional cooldowns. Yeah, that's fine. You never update Stellaris, ever. What, this changelog? What, this? Maybe a little bit. Also, storage drawers and the colours. I have absolutely no idea what they are doing with rendering. Because it should just copy the block. Because I thought if the storage drawers weren't working correctly, that the facades and stuff wouldn't work. But both XNet facades and the facades cable mod one both work with the colours. So I don't know what they're doing. The only thing I think of is they're reading the texture file directly instead of what the texture would be as a block state. So I don't know what that's about. That should all be fine. Yeah, I always forget the latest changelogs are slightly different to the actual changelog it shows. 0 changes to Stellaris have been done. I'm not updating it. Every single time we update this mod, something breaks. Every time. So there is loads of updates, but not one of them adds compat for tags for oxygen. Item handlers, as far as I'm aware, still don't work. Okay, they've added structures and stuff, but the stuff that really needs to be added is just not there. I mean, it's bad when literally the very latest changelog, this version does not fix the oxygen distributor. So it's just, at the minute, it's not worth updating Stellaris at all. Modular machinery needs a JEI update. I see. It's just not. It's not worth it with Stellaris. It really isn't. We've had to do so many workarounds already. Yeah, who knows? Honestly, it's really. It was so close to changing from Stellaris to just something custom. Because we have a gravity system for contained already done. But admittedly, their ships are cool, and I do like parts of the mod. It is a strange one though, because I believe Stellaris is a fork of Beyond Earth, I think it was. I'm pretty sure Beyond Earth worked fine in terms of compatibility. But not being able to like pump water into their machines and stuff is just so bad. And then even when we were using their systems, we were still managing to break stuff. Well, we loaded, that's good. No new errors. In what version? On the moon? Wait, is the gravity thing with items then down to them? There definitely is something wrong with item dropping. Like the upwards trajectory never happens, it's always down. Yeah, this has been a known problem anyway for a while. But it literally, if you look at the items when they pop, they always drop down instead of popping up. Because it does affect what we're doing as well. Oh, maybe it doesn't. No, our items definitely pop up. But, so the way we have our own pop method that simulates the vanilla one. So I can only assume that there's something overriding that. Which may be Stellaris, to be fair. Yeah, even that's delayed, isn't it? Pretty sure we don't have a delay on it, do we? No, we don't. if entity item has pickup delay, that's why we're doing it. So we wait until the pickup delay is finished, because you can't pick up an item straight away. So that's why cast is probably different. Why do we have that? I think the reason was that you could do that. So you could drop items on the floor and back off. Yeah. Yeah, there is something strange with item gravity. But the other miner's got as well, so that's good. So let's move to the official casting version. Yeah, it's going to be no reason for it not to be. It's just a resource pack. That does remind you though, we need to enable that resource pack by default. Which I do believe you can do with a mod that we added. What was it called? We used it in the Evolved as well. Here we go, resource pack overrides. So, default packs. Yeah, so we used it in Evolved to make the Pipex pipes better. So I just need to add default packs, I think, and then that should be fine. BBL colors, connected textures, what a name. What else does it want? Default packs. Default overrides, probably don't need that. Pack overrides. File, darker pipes, zip. Oh, we need the zip. Throw that in as well. Hidden false, required false, fixed position true, default position top. Could probably just add that anyway. Don't do that with that. Let's try that. That would make sense if you used the wrong texture pack, yeah. I mean, you could have been Yuki yesterday. We was trying to use the connected textures with Techopolis. I mean, that's quite something. Don't tell him I said anything. Actually, we need to update that resource pack as well, because they fixed some textures for us as well. I mean, that clearly didn't add it as... Well, I didn't enable it anyway, so that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Perhaps we do need the default overrides. Which is that. Like, I'm pretty sure it should just enable it every time, I think. So the blackout one adds the other mods, right? It still didn't enable it. Well, either way, is it just worth building in the resource pack anyway? I mean, it's annoying because I can't see why that doesn't work. Because again, it's an exact copy of what we've already done before. Unless it just hates the name of the resource pack. Hey, by the way, I didn't see the message there, but hey. It's good that it supports all the other mods though. So we spelt mosaic wrong 3 times. That's classic. I have heard that this is an issue, but I haven't been able to replicate it. We did try to replicate it before, but we've never had the problem. What pipe were you using? Was it a fluid or an item one? Oh, just placing it on top. Yeah, I'd say we tried replicating it, but we couldn't. I'd say we've never had a problem with it. Unless it's when it fills. But yeah, no. Tested it a few times and I've never ever had the bug. Which makes it really hard to fix. Yeah, it's an odd one. I'd say it's hard to fix it because I've never been able to replicate it. But I've tried a few times and not had any luck. I'd say any luck crashing, but... Oh, I see it is working. No, it's at the top. I suppose it makes sense because you always want it above the mod resources, I think. There we go. So we actually need to update that fix quickly. So that's published now. I do like how nice it was using Fusion to add textures. I think that was quite good. Very, very impressed. Oh, there's a bot that does it as well. Interesting. So, I believe that's it, right? We just need to find pipe connector, which is there now. But I think we're there. Don't think there's much else to add. And then we just got to wait for colours to be approved. It is currently under review. Right, that should be done. So we can double check that it's there. Yeah, you do. But, so I'm not sure how it works, but you can add dependencies to resource packs. So I added colors and fusion as a dependency to the resource pack. So if you ever install it without using colors or fusion, you get both. Which is not an issue with us because we'll just always add fusion to the pack. I was hoping that you could just override the textures with the fusion variants, and then if it didn't detect fusion, it would revert to the default versions, but that wasn't the case. Which meant we'd have to build 2 different textures inside the mod, which wasn't what I wanted to do really. So resource pack is probably easier. Plus it gets approved really quick. And colours, it just takes so long to do anything in colours because of how much content there is in there. As I say, I do think we'll end up splitting out some of the stuff in colours into separate mods just so I can actually work on them properly. Because it is, honestly, it took maybe 2 or 3 minutes yesterday every time we were changing the texture to actually see it applied inside the dev environment. So we actually made a small mod pack to do it in that way instead as a resource pack. Yeah, I'm really not sure why that's not enabling. Why isn't it applying it straight away? So when you add other resource packs, it works. There's something not right with the resource pack thing. Like, what happens when we restart? There's an issue with constant tan as well, but apparently. Constant tan has a duplication recipe in the IE alloy kiln. It's actually doing the opposite of what we want. It's disabling the mod. Right, we need to wiki this, I think. No, the font's just optional. Resource pack overrides configured within a single config file located at Minecraft config resource pack overrides, which we've got. The file generates blank. Find out all the details in the GitHub repository. Configuration. default resource pack list included in the config.json array labeled as default packs, which we've done. The list is applied in reverse, which means one resource pack placed another will appear below that resource pack in the resource pack selection. Irrelevant because we're only using one. It is possible when resource pack loading fails that the issue lies within the resource packs enabled by default. There is a maximum number of times before applied default resource packs list, so clearly it's failing. So maybe we need to do that. I'm guessing it would fail because the mod isn't loaded yet. Yeah, it's only at the top of any block. I did ask for support for other sides, but I don't think they ever got back to us. It shouldn't crash if you use it on the side, so it shouldn't be able to interact. Yeah, that shouldn't break it because it shouldn't do anything. Unless it's casting trying to... Oh. It might be casting trying to export fluids into it. Possibly. Because casting auto ejects. Yeah, I'd say it's probably that. Whether we can fix it or not is a different story. It's still not on. What is going on? Yeah, Orange Road was fixed in the version I just done. Maybe. It is there, Orange Road, so it should be working. This sucks that it's not working. We'll check in a sec. Once I can get this resource pack to load. Oh no, it doesn't work. It's because if I look in the file now, it's called Orange RAOD, not ROAD. Wow, how cool is that? It deleted the whole resource pack for some reason. So I'm waiting for that to update again. I'm probably going to remove the resource pack mod then. Because the fact it keeps deleting and disabling the actual text we actually, the only one we want to enable, is really annoying. I say I'm probably missing something obvious, but I'm not willing to mess around with it for ages. Because we've literally done exactly what it says. Because you only need this, the default packs. It's actually disabled it again. What is going on? Yeah, it's all right. The name's right, zip's right, default spelling's all right. Schema version failed to lead load to possession. That's all you should need. Honestly, I think we just leave it off. Well, leave the mod out. Because it's going to get really annoying if you have to enable it every time you join, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. The only thing I can think of is because it's a resource pack that requires 2 mods, and it's just failing because either one's not loaded or something at the time it checks for resource packs. I have no idea what else it would be. Yeah, so we'll just leave that mod out, and then we'll see if we can fix it another time. But I think we can probably build this version. Export as zip. Then we have to check all this. Disable those. you say that. I actually tested stairs, slabs, and walls, and I couldn't get any of them to work correctly. The stairs were all over the place, to be fair. But it's because, to be honest, I don't think we'd add it anyway, even if it did work, because it's so much manual work to do. It's because the way it works is it overrides the model file, but slabs have 3 different model files. So they have the top, the bottom, and the double. So it'd work with double slabs probably. Same with the walls. The walls have the normal texture, then they have connected textures, and they have up texture, down texture, which are all block models. Stairs are the same. They have a stairs texture, then they have an inner texture, then they have an outer texture model. So it does get really complicated really quickly, which is just, it just doesn't work properly. That's why it makes sense why a lot of mods don't do it. Yeah, so if you could data gen it wouldn't be an issue, but I don't think we're ever going to look at data generated resource packs. That's just silly. So we'll test the server, see if we can connect. If we can, then we'll push the update, and it should be out by 12, which is not bad really. Touch wood, this may be the final beta update, I think. You can do it. It's easy to do. You can do it. Like, all of the resources we use for specifically colours are all custom models as well, so you can do it. It's just because we're not doing it as a model, we're doing it as a resource pack. There's just no real point to do it. It has to be what makes more sense in terms of time. Like, to be honest, now we shouldn't need to touch that for years unless we add new textures. Whereas like every version of Minecraft changes something. So data gen's so important because you can change one thing in data gen, which will fix everything and make it work with new gen. Like stupid things like when they changed item stacks, the inputs and outputs, they changed to ID instead of item. If you were manually changing that in every single recipe, it would be hell. But in data gen, it will automatically do it for you. This also seems to be working fine. Upload file. Yeah, it probably will. You know what it's like. It's always something wrong. Holy moly. 40,000 downloads since last Friday. And then upload server pack. And that is done. Yes, Techopolis 3 has flown past Evolved. 123,000 downloads. It's only 6,000 downloads away from passing Techopolis 1. It's a while off of Techopolis 2 though. Techopolis 2 was 311. It's the power of being on a Curse Forge page, I tell you. Like if you look here, so I can only see what these two were, the first top two. This top mod pack, when Techopolis was added, that was added as well. Techopolis had 49,000 at that point, and then now we're up to 123. That Homestead mod pack had 184 downloads, and now it's on 150k. Obviously there could be YouTubers playing it as well, but the power of it being there is just huge. Tell you what, it's Fabric as well, so that might be another reason. I don't know what the Fabric mod pack scene looks like in a minute. Yeah, I mean, we were doing alright before then. I was quite happy with how it was going. Because Techopolis was always kind of a sort of slow burner. Like even, so it released, the first version was B1.0. Oh no, B3. That was only at 2. And then it's gradually increased since then. And then obviously B12 was 34. B13.3 was 40, so it has gone up a substantial amount. But obviously you've got people like Gaming on Caffeine who have a huge platform as well, playing it as well now, which does always help. That is probably because of the Curse Forge being on the front page. I think it's... I still think they're being sneaky, Minecraft. I do still seriously think that 1.21.6 is not going to be a release version. I still think it's going to be 1.22 that. So I think more than likely is Farmopolis and Contained are the last two for 1.21. And then we'll probably well, it'll be doing updates obviously for those two, and then it'll be the massive updating of all the mods, which is going to be quite something. And I do think we may be best to leave casting until 1.22. But yeah, so I think so. Next week should be, hopefully, if nothing else goes wrong, 1.0 of Techopolis, and also the alpha versions of Farmopolis, and then all attention turns to Contain. I'm not looking forward to it, I'm not gonna lie. The changes between 1.21 and 1.20.3 are massive. I'm hoping that we'll have enough methods that we use in core that hopefully just updating core will be enough for a lot of the mods, because I don't think item and block registries have changed too much. Pretty sure data components haven't changed. If it is, it's probably just a way of getting them, sending them, which again is fine. The multi-block stuff in casting, that's all custom, so that should be fine. Optus utilities are, it's a hard one, Optus utilities, because it's still not using core, so that is going to take a lot of work. Strainers should be fine. Pretty sure we had a whole plan, yeah. Like, not too bad. I don't know why that has an arrow. It's this, if we get this working, like even some of this stuff we've done. So the Discord command and modpack version command have both moved already. Compat can't be done until all the other mods are updated. Colours Touchwood should be fine. In terms of if it's only the registries that have changed, we can change that because we're mass adding blocks now anyway. Cloche, yeah, I've got no idea. Cave Optus is dead. So smelteries are done. As far as I'm concerned, they're good enough at the minute. Mixer multi-block, that's basically done. Item mixing's a funny one because I was going to add item handling to the mixer so you could have like alloys with fluids and items, but I don't know if we really need it. Tool repairing, that's replaced with modifiers. Tool modifiers are in. Data generation is in the new version. Loot tables are in properly for the new version. So there's a lot of stuff like that is done. That's easy, that's just configuration, that's fine. This will be a lot of work, mainly because I want to change it to one single recipe with loads of optional fields. This depends on... Oh, this is actually done, to be fair. Immersive support, that's done. Just renaming, that's easy. Strainers to move, yeah, that's fine. Like, there's a lot of stuff, so a lot of it depends on this. If we can get core updated reasonably quick, 90% of the work for all the mods is done there. Should probably have places to this. Certainly interesting times ahead. As I can't help it because the way they usually do their updates, it's usually the big update is in June. So I'm still kind of hoping that 1.22 will be June, and that is what 1.21.6 will be. But if it's not, I don't know where a lot of mods and packs and stuff are going to go from there, because I think everyone's kind of bored of 1.21 now. Especially considering there's been some big updates in 22, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 and 0.5. But you don't want to support a version until you know. Anyway, ranting's over. I think that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow is an interesting one because we've got two options. We can do more casting, or we can look at contained. So we'll decide that tomorrow. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.